you work with a lot of borrowers. What are the, let's say, top 3 big mistakes that you see when you're reviewing, let's say, their personal financial statement, or Wade, maybe a real estate investor is doing a deal and something goes sideways? What are those kind of big 3 things that are big challenges for borrowers?
So we're going to talk hard money first.
Yeah, we can do hard money first.
I would definitely say that people early investors try to do too much on a deal. In other words, they're going to try and move walls. They're going to add bathrooms. They're going to add square footage. They see, television shows, and these people have been doing these things for 10 or 15 years. Like, they have a ton of experience. They have the right contractors. I think it's very good on your first deal, just find a nice paint and lipstick deal, right? You get in there, you make your contacts, you change flooring, you maybe paint cabinets, you change countertops. It's a deal that's down the fairway. You might not make a home run on it, but I think that's a good, safe deal for your first deal. We see a lot of people make mistakes because they don't understand load-bearing walls or just hidden things that until you screwed up once yourself or you've maybe been in the business, you're just not going to know about it. Another thing is that in hard money space, people put up a lot of money for non-refundable earnest money, right? Sometimes it's $2,500, sometimes $5,000. I see $10,000 sometimes. And you have to meet the close date. So you have to get the contract to us. You have to get especially the repair budget. And then you have to get all your docs in very quickly. And you can't expect, like if it's a 7-day close, you can't take 5 days to get us everything expected. And that happens sometimes.
Well, and you guys can't get an appraisal until they have what? The rehab budget.
Got to have the rehab budget.
Got to have the scope of work. And otherwise the appraiser's like, well, I don't know. What is this supposed to look like when you guys are done?
So that's key. If you want to not lose your earnest money and not piss off your wholesaler, and we certainly don't want to piss off the wholesalers because they're huge to our business. Like, we want to make close dates, but you have to make sure that you're really getting that needs list in right away. If we need to close in 7 days, you need to look at it like, I need to get this in 7 hours at minimum, right? I think you really have to have that approach. And then the last thing I would say is just have the game plan in mind. Don't let the deal dictate your game plan. Like, come into the business with what you need to do based on your financial situation and what your goals are, right? I see people come in and say they just have a good deal that they find. That may be a better deal to wholesale if it's not right for you. Like, if it's a $600,000 flip and you got $50K, like, is that the right deal for you? Or can you maybe wholesale that deal and make a nice chunk and do a deal that's more in your wheelhouse? So I think having a good strategy, and people like you in the masterminds can help people come up with that strategy. The biggest mistake is not every deal is good for everybody just because it's a good deal. You need to have either the experience, the money, the access to capital to do a deal that may be bigger outside of your wheelhouse. Or sometimes you're not ready for a buy and hold. You're really ready for a flip, but you don't have the wherewithal to hold a property because you just not ready. Yeah. So have a good strategy in place, I think.
Okay.
So on conventional, whether it's investment or primary, same. Good with, you said it, good with documents. Like, you just got to be tight, guy. Like, you just can't delay. If we ask you for something, just get on it, because keep going to this side. Now I'm going too much.
You're good.
Okay, just
you
stay
can
right
use
there.
me as a fulcrum to get around.
Just be prepared. And I know that docs are not everybody's love language, but just the faster you can comply with requests, and like we talked before about, just don't avoid the situation.
Sure.
Like, just talk to us if you're having a time. I'd say that's one mistake that people make. The other is when you're doing your tax returns. I mean, if you're going to go for the conventional route and on the tax returns, don't write everything off. Just show some positive, and also pay your tax bill on time. Like, find some other way to finance it, because financing it with the IRS, we can't close. I don't know about y'all, but until we verify from the IRS what your payment plan is, we can't close.
Yeah.
And so just put it on a credit card or something, And then the other thing is reserves. So I think even whether you probably want reserves too,
Sure.
right?
That's in hard money, it's not necessarily reserves, but you have to have assets, right?
You got to have something. And equity in a property is not an asset, because you can't get to it. So like, whether it's a 401k or you got to have something. So the hardest time we have approving, at least in conventional, is when you've got everything in your properties and you have absolutely nothing to fall back on. Nothing. No IRA, no nothing. So, you got to have some backing.
We tell everybody starting out, I'm like, you need 50 to 100 grand in a checking account somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere, and don't touch it.
And don't touch. Yeah, it can be in your brokerage account. It can be wherever, but it's like they got to have that liquidity in case you got to get to it quick. So
I might add two more things real quick
for it.
before we move on. You made a great point about how you file your tax returns, and just to make sure, most people may not know this that have not been investing in real estate. To your point, if you expense everything, you get the benefit that year, but you crush your chance to qualify for a conventional loan.
That's right.
But if you just amortize or depreciate it, you still get those tax benefits. It's just stretched out over a period, and we can add all of that back.
Yeah.
So it totally changes the game. And what's really cool is if you do this right, if you can qualify for your primary residence, and you can qualify after that, you can qualify for rentals as long as they cash flow.
Yeah.
We got to take 25% vacancy rate, but you can buy 10 in your name.
Yeah.
You can buy 10 in your spouse's name if you don't have a primary, maybe 19 total between the two of you. You can do all of that if you have properties that cash flow with the 25% vacancy rate. So you just have to not file your taxes in a way in which you really hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you do get the business owners that literally write everything off, and it's like you made nothing last year.
Yeah.
It's like
everything.
had a friend of mine he does really well. His W-2, he can't. How can I put this? He doesn't have the ability to go reinvest it. So we get a big payday, we just go and buy some more stuff with it. So he makes about $3 million a year and expenses like $4 million against his income. But it's like, so he was trying to buy a primary residence out in I think he was in West U, and every mortgage person he took it to, he's like, man, you got to redo these. Like this is
We
insane,
can't do this.
right? We can't do this. So